Hi, it's me. Good morning. Welcome. All right, my birthday's coming up, and I have been thinking back on some things, and I thought today I would tell you the story of or stories of some of the Black women who have made me the person that I am. The person I am is a joyful and kind and giving person, I think. I think you would say that, right? I'm a person who will speak up for herself. I've learned that from Black women. I'm a person who will advocate for other people at times. I'm not perfect, right? I'm not, but at times, and I've learned that from Black women. I'm a person who likes to do good things for herself. I've learned that from Black women. Um, I'm a person who loves to travel. I've learned that from Black women. I'm a person who loves reading and quiet time and alone time. I've learned that from Black women. Yeah. So today, I just want to tell you some stories. I don't know if I can get through 24 stories, but I got 24 stories. I don't know if I can get through the 24 stories of Black women who have made me the joyful and kind and giving and caring and headstrong person that I am. But we'll see how many we can get through in a reasonable amount of time without me losing my voice or running out of water. All right, that's what we're going to do. All right, good morning, friends. Good morning, Clara. Good morning, Imani. Good morning, Jordana. Hey, Jordana. Good morning, Tel. Good morning, Mom. This is my mom. Hey, Mom. Spoiler alert, she's on the list. Good morning, Zenobia. Good morning, Jules. Hey, Ladybug 77. Good morning, Miss Dow. Good morning, Copious Cat. Hey, Kyla. Hey, Comfort. Hey, Cecil. Hey, Angela. Hey, Alexandria the Great. Good morning, y'all. Good morning, Jocophy. Good morning, Brenda. All right. Hey, Nirel. Hey, 13th Goddess. Okay, hey, y'all. My birthday's July 5. My birthday's coming up. So I'm starting to think about, birthday things. I'm about to turn 48. I dyed my hair. So I got rid of most of the gray. I, I got rid of most of the gray in preparation for my birthday, but I did keep a little bit of it here. I don't know if you can see it on the camera. I did keep a little bit of the gray. But I'm getting ready for my 48th birthday on July 5. I'll actually be in Cancun with the Exodus Summit Meetup gang. I'll be in Cancun for my birthday. So I thought, but this is what I wanted to do for my birthday this year. This is what I wanted to do. I just wanted to tell some stories and thank some women who are why I get to be the person that I am, right? Why I get to be myself. So that's what we're going to do. Is that all right with y'all? I know I had talked about doing the check-in for the vision board, but I'm just not ready. Like my my vision board progress is not where it needs to be. We'll do that after I come back from Cancun. So the second Saturday in July, we'll do that. Okay, second Saturday in July, we'll do our vision board check-in. July 1st is the beginning of the end of the year. July 1st is the halfway point, right, of the year. So we'll do it on I think it'll be July 9th. I don't know what day it'll be. The second Saturday in July. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you for the early birthday wishes. We'll begin celebrating today and we'll continue to celebrate through the month of July. Thank you. So that's what we're going to do. I want to tell you some stories because I have a lot of stories and I love to talk. So I'm just going to tell you some stories and kick it with y'all in the chat for a little while. Of course, the first person on the list is my mom, Connie Perry. Y'all know Connie Perry. You've met her. I've interviewed her on my channel more than once. My mom is a hospital chaplain, or is a retired hospital chaplain, and we talked recently about her moving to that calling, right? And embracing it. My mom didn't go to graduate school until she was 40. She didn't start on the chaplaincy trail until she was 40. So my mom was a great example to me on just, when you want to do something, you do it. At that time, to me, 40 seemed older. Not old. I never felt like, oh, she's too old to do this because I didn't know what graduate school was anyway. But at that time, I think she felt before she got started, she may have felt that, oh, I'm a little older, right? They call you mature students or adult students or whatever. But I got to see her say, there's no deadline, right? There's no deadline. If I start working in a hospital at 43 instead of 23, I start working in a hospital at 43 and I get to bring my adult my adult self and my adult experiences with me, and there's no deadline to when we get to live, when we get to experience the good things. So that was a great lesson for me as a teenager. My parents had been foster parents, so we had foster kids. So this was a big shift, going from being a foster mom at home with the foster kids, because a lot of times we had brand new babies right out of the hospital, right? So going from being a full-time foster mom to a graduate student was a big shift for her. She took on an even bigger role in the church that we went to. She'd always been active in church, right? But it was really nice for me to be able to see a grown-up person saying, "Oh, I'm going to do it." That's why when y'all in y'all's 20s and 30s, it's always y'all in your 20s and 30s talking about, "I want to do X, Y, Z. Is it too late?" That's why people roll their eyes at you because I'm sorry, sis, you sound ridiculous, okay? You're talking about, "I'm 29 and I want to go to college. Is it too late?" You sound ridiculous. You're just getting started with life, right? It's not too late to do anything. There's nothing off of the table for you when you're in your 20s. Nothing, except maybe professional ballerina, right? Maybe at 29, it's too late to become maybe not. I don't know. Maybe not even that, right? It's not too late. And so I've had good lessons in that, including my mom. I promise you, this whole list is not just going to be family members. I have a large enough family that my list could just be 24 family members, but I'm going to put some people in other people's. I'm going to put a person as a representative for the whole. So the first is my grandmother, Lucille Evans. I'm going to put her as a representative for a whole older women in my family. I've got lots of great aunts and my grandmother, my other grandmother passed away before I was born, but my grandmother, Lucille Evans. Lucille Evans was a traditional Baptist woman. Well, I guess she was only partially Baptist. She was a little bit holiness, a little bit Baptist, a little bit this, a little bit that. But she was a Southern woman raising a family in Delaware. She did very Southern things, like when there was a thunderstorm, everything in the house was shut off. All electricity in the house was shut off. And we were to sit together on that sofa and she would sing hymns. And I happened to get to stay with her a lot in the summer. When my parents were working, I would come. When we still lived in Delaware before we moved to Ohio, I would stay there. Me and my brother would stay there, and there was always another cousin there, Ronnie, Ronnie or Marcus or Bobby. Somebody was always there, and she would sit there during the entire thunderstorm and rock us and sing hymns. And Keisha was born a little later, rock us and sing and just sing and sing and sing during a thunderstorm. Ronnie would be crying like a baby, even though he knew it was just a thunderstorm, right? Sometimes I would try to be like, "Oh, I didn't hear it, my mom. I'm taking a nap." No, ain't no staying up in the bedroom and taking a nap during the thunderstorm. You are going to come downstairs with us and rock and sing hymns with us. No sneaking your little games. Back then we had the little fake Atari, right? The little the little football game. I don't know, that one of the first handheld games, a little football game, right? No bringing your little football game to play. Put that down. It is time for us to rock and sing to Jesus. And that's all we're going to do. That was a lesson for me to hold on to the old things and also to go through storms together. That's what I remember about the thunderstorms. One time I think it was Marcus and me were outside and we saw, like, I swear we saw a tornado and we were running to the house to beat the tornado and we ran in the house to safety. My mom already had the lights out. My mom already was sitting on the sofa, already ready to sing hymns, right? So that was a good lesson, right? For as a child we go through storms together. You don't hide up in the bedroom, right? Because I would try, right? I'm just going to lay down in the bedroom and pretend like I'm asleep and I don't hear this storm coming. No. Not happening. You're not doing that, right? So that was a nice reminder to go through storms together. Don't separate yourself. Don't isolate yourself during the hard times. I have a habit of doing that. But she's been a person who taught me that lesson. My dad also has he used to, when I lived in Wilmington, he always could tell when something was wrong. Anytime I would just be in the pits of despair, here come Joe Perry knocking on my door. Right, he cut my grass every couple of weeks anyway, but here he cut. Right, but that just a good reminder: you don't do this alone. Life is not made for living alone. Yeah, that's what we did. My grandma was from she was Geechee from South Carolina, and that's what we did. Everything, there was no question that this is what you're gonna do. Like, there's no like, oh, maybe she's gonna forget. If my grandfather was outside, he would come in. He knew. Everybody knew. This is what we're going to do during this storm. Little Ronnie would just be crying. I mean, crying. He would cry the whole time. We like, Ronnie, it's just a thunderstorm. But she would scare the daylights out of him. I want to also tell you a story about my cousin, Cynthia Evans. Cynthia Evans is a cousin who is going to stand in for all of my women cousins. I have a lot of women cousins, and so she's just going to stand in for everyone. Cynthia drove me to my grandmother's house a lot when I had to spend my days or summers at my grandmom's. She would sometimes pick me up in where I lived in Newcastle and drive me. I have a set of cousins who are closer to my mom's age than my age. So I was a little kid. She would pick me up and drive me to my grandmom's house. Cynthia was a Girl Scout troop leader. I was a hermit from way back. Like, I've been a hermit as a child. I've been a hermit. And so she was a Girl Scout troop leader. She would drive up from Smyrna to Newcastle, drop her baby off, drop her son off. Hey, Troy, drop him off with us and say, Stephanie, do you want to come with me to Girl Scouts? Every Tuesday. I believe it was Tuesdays. Every Tuesday. No, thank you. I don't want to go. I want to stay home. I never was a Girl Scout. Once she took me to a bonfire, right? I had to go. I didn't have a choice. Once she took me to a bonfire, and she tried her hardest to get me into Girl Scouts. But she and along with a lot of other people in the family were people who were just reminders that we're a family. Like, you don't do this by yourself. My mom and dad were working at that point. This was before we moved to Ohio and they became foster parents. So both my parents worked and I needed somewhere to be during the day. And so my mom just called up Shump. We call it Shump. My mom just called up Shump. Can you drive Stephanie down to Smyrna? And it was a yes, right? And then when Shump needed somebody to take care of Troy while she was doing Girl Scouts, it was a yes. Drop him off here. Drop him off with a pack of crackers. Troy loved crackers. He loved saltines. He was a baby and he loved saltines. Drop Troy off with a pack of crackers. He was satisfied, right? I saw a good family operating as a family, not as like, I am the mother and I have to do all of the things by myself. No, you need something, you call somebody. That was Shump and other cousins. I got a lot of cousins, Kim and Keena, Vicky and Cassandra, Stacy. I have, Shump has a whole bunch of sisters. I have a lot of cousins, but Shump is going to stand in for all of them and showing me how family does family things, right? How family pulls up. And how you open your mouth when you need something, right? Connie Perry doesn't mind opening up when she needs help with something now. There have been times when she didn't, right? But that was a time in my life when she opened up and she said, hey, Shump, we need you to help with this. Shump did it. And then Shump said, hey, Connie, I need you to do that. And my mom did it. Yeah, I would not. She would every Tuesday. I'm pretty sure it was Tuesday nights. Every Tuesday, Stephanie, you want to come with me to Girl Scouts? Right? It would have been real easy for me to be like, okay, but I'm a hermit. I love being in the house, and I have always loved being in the house. I was probably 9 or 10, right? Perfect Girl Scouts age. No, I do. One time she took me to the bonfire, and I remember the saltines. Shump also is the first person I ever saw intermittent windshield wipers on. Cynthia bought a car in the early 80s. Some of y'all don't know this, but in the olden times, your windshield wipers either went really fast or went slow, but they didn't pause in between. Okay. One day, Cynthia pulled up at my mom's house with a new car. I believe it was a Toyota Celic. I think it was green or teal or blue, but I'm not sure. But I know it was a Toyota Celic. And Uncle Sonny got in the car and he put me in the driver's seat and he sat in the passenger seat. He worked for GM, so he knew what new cars could do. He put me in the driver's seat and he said, watch this. He turned on the windshield wiper and it went one time and then it stopped. And I was like, I'm not impressed. And then, I don't know, 5 seconds later, it went again. And I was like, how did you do that? This is not a story about Uncle Sonny, but we're not talking about men today. But I was like, how did you do that? So impressed. And that was Cynthia's car. And that was one of the cars that Cynthia used to shuttle me around the state of Delaware when I was a kid. After we left Delaware, we moved to Westerville, Ohio, which was very white and very different. I still spent a lot of time in the house, like in Delaware when we grew up. I spent a lot of time outside on my bike, even though I was a hermit. The neighborhood still counted, right? Spent a lot of time on my bike. When we moved to Ohio, it was very white. My parents, there was some nervousness about moving into the white neighborhood, I think. And I made some friends pretty quickly, some white, and I had a biracial friend who lived on the corner, but they were not always the best to me, right? The white, like a white girl got me kicked off the school bus in like very early, very young, right? By lying on me. So my parents, there was some trepidation about us moving into the white neighborhood. But there was also new friends. So I made a very best friend named Sybil Wise. She was Black. I was Black. Her father was a pastor of a big church. My parents were super Christian, right? So we understood each other. We got along amazingly well. And she was a great best friend to have through high school, through middle school. I think we knew each other in middle school, but we became friends in high school. And we used to just hang out in the cafeteria, and we actively like moved ourselves further and further from our white friends, closer to Black friends. Every year, more Black kids would come to our high school. Because in the beginning, it was just us, me, Sybil, Nicole. It was just a handful of girls, of Black girls. Every year, we would get more Black girls, so we separated ourselves from the white girls, from our white friends. Like at lunch, like freshman year, our lunch table was me and Sybil and a bunch of white girls. Right. And as we went on, year after year, our table got Blacker and it got closer to the other Black kids in the lunchroom. I remember sitting with Sybil and like plotting on how we're going to stop sitting with Lynn at lunch. The white girl, Lynn. She was white. She had a bunch of hair. That's what I remember about Lynn. She just had so much hair. How we're going to stop sitting with Lynn, how we're going to move over to Carrie's table, Carrie and Banika, right, the Black girls, how we're going to move closer to their table every week or whatever. That was our transition in high school from being the only Black girls. And in middle school, I think there was 3 Black girls in our grade, right? From middle school and we all sat together, right? From being the only Black girls to having more Black girls and moving ourselves in that direction and separating from them. But high school was a pretty good experience all in all. But Sybil was a very good friend, a very good person to go through high school with. I don't have terrible high school stories. I was a very tall child. But Sybil was a good like protector. If that makes sense. She's a very small person. She's short. But she was a very good friend to have. You weren't going to say nothing. That wasn't nobody going to say anything bad about me if Sybil Wise was in the room, right? She's also an Aries like my mom. I think she's an Aries like my mom, right? You're not going to say nothing bad about Stephanie if she's in the room. So she was a good like escort, good guide through high school time. I never had a Black teacher in high school. I never had a Black teacher in middle school or elementary school. I never had a Black teacher in my schooling experience until I went to Spelman College. But I did have a Black tutor. I had a Black woman who was my geometry tutor named Georgette. Georgette was a woman at our church. We went to a church that when we joined, it was pretty small, but it got really big over time. We went to New Salem Baptist Church in Columbus. And they had a program for people to tutor kids. And Georgette was my geometry tutor. So I didn't have a Black teacher, but I did have Georgette who guided me through geometry, which was really hard for me. I was a good math student. Math is something that I get, even though I'm not a serious person, right? Not the kind of person you would think would be good at math. I was always good at math, but for some reason, geometry just got me. And Georgette was a wonderful tutor. I went for a few months and I probably just ghosted her. I don't know if I ever officially thanked her in what, 10th or 11th grade. I don't know if I ever officially thanked Georgette for tutoring me. I think I just stopped when I didn't need her anymore. So I'm sorry, Georgette, but thank you for helping me. It was really nice to have a Black woman tutor, a Black woman sit and teach me things. Yeah, I never had a Black teacher. I went to elementary school in Delaware. I went to middle school and high school in Ohio. And then my senior year, February of my senior year, we moved back to Delaware. Delaware, Newcastle, Delaware is Black. Newcastle, Delaware is a Black place. It's a Black town in a Black part of a state, of a Black state. Believe it or not, Delaware is Blacker than you think it is. But I never had a Black teacher, right? I did take stats. After school, I was a statistician for basketball and track. And the track coach, the head coach for track was Black. So we had to interact with him. He was also the art teacher. We had to like interact with him. So I did interact with Black teachers, but I never had a Black teacher teach me things in a classroom. Not once, not until I went to college. I know, that's strange. I find it strange too. But I'm nothing special, right? My experience can't be any different from a lot of people, right? Even though started off in Delaware, which is Black, and moved to Ohio, which is white, moved back to Delaware, I never had a Black teacher. So thanks, Georgette, for tutoring me. That was helpful. Also at the church, we had a newsletter, and the head of the newsletter staff was Ms. Gloria Watkins Cannon. My dad was also on the newsletter staff. I think they flip-flopped back and forth between one being the president of the newsletter and one being the vice president, because I think of them both as being the head. They were both in charge. But Ms. Cannon my dad, of course, put me on the newsletter staff because my dad was like, you're signing up for this and this is what you do, right? But my dad put me on the newsletter staff, and Ms. Cannon just let me write whatever I wanted to write. I was a middle schooler and I didn't have a whole lot to say, but she let me write what I want to write. And I said I wanted to interview new people, new members of the church, and she let me do it. Sometimes if a family joined the church and they had a cute boy in the family, I would just interview the boy. I would call him up and say, hi, this is Stephanie from the New Salem newsletter. Can I interview you? I did that to a boy named Hank. I can't remember his last name. They were Black, but his name was Hank. Hank something. And she never questioned, like, why are you interviewing this? Why did you pick this person and not that person? I had real autonomy on that newsletter staff. So thanks, Ms. Cannon. She just, I would turn it in, and I think she would, fix some things if it needed to be fixed. But mostly she just let me do my thing. You like to write? Okay, write something. So that was nice. And I was a middle schooler. Like, I didn't have anything to say. What do I have to say? Nothing. But that was very nice of her to do that. And then Tiana, so I'm on number 7. I'm just rolling through the list. So number 7 is Tiana Pratcher. So later on in my adult life, I was the newsletter person at church. I ran a newsletter at a different church, and I hollered at Tiana, who was 9 years old, and I said, Tiana, do you want to write a little story for the newsletter? And she said yes, and she did it. So Tiana let me pay that forward. I don't remember what her story was about. I think it might have been her review of Women's Day or something. I think we had Women's Day, and she just talked about what the services were. Like, we had morning service and we had afternoon service. I think that's what she wrote about, but I don't really remember for sure. But I remember she signed it, Tiana Pratcher, age 9. And her family, every single member of her family came up and was like, thank you so much for letting her do that. And I was like, oh, no big deal. So it was really nice for me to be able to pay that forward to Tiana. I don't know if she would remember that. She's a grown up. That's how old I am. Tiana is now, I think she's already graduated from college. I know she went to college. I remember her graduation pictures, but I don't remember if I saw her high school pictures or her high school and her college pictures, right? But she's graduated, right? That was a while ago. But everybody in her family came up and thanked me for that. But it was I asked her if she wanted to do it, and she said yes. And she did it, right? And then she was, really excited to see her work in that newsletter. That was a fun way to like keep it going, to pay it forward. I think we only did it that one time because I didn't do the newsletter that often or that long. But that was fun. Back to the church in Ohio. When I got to the church in Ohio, I was 10, but I looked 15. I was a very tall child. and we had a choir. The church had a youth choir where you had to be 12 to join the youth choir. I joined the church, and the kids saw me come into church with my parents, and Tara Walker walked up to me and said, "Hey, come to choir practice on Saturday so you can sing in the youth choir." And I said, "I can't, I'm only 10. And Tara was like, "Are you sure? Ask your mom." She said, "You're only 10? That's not right. Ask your mom." Right? She was like, "This child, she must not know how old she really is. There's no way this 5'9" human being is 10 years old." The girls, the teenagers in that church are probably why I have no boy issues today, right? The teenage girls in that church were awesome, right? A lot of them lived right in Columbus. Black girls who went through black girl things, black girl teenage things. They had boyfriends, Tara and Dee Dee and Melaine and Kim, and right? They had boyfriend situations, but they talked to me even though I was 3, 4, 5 years younger than them. They just talked about it, right? Like regular stuff. And so boys were never like super fascinating to me. I'm like, oh yeah, yeah, there's boys, right? Boys exist. They had, some of them had regular boyfriends, some of them had, on and off boyfriends, some of them had boyfriend stress, some of them had were treated nicely by their boyfriends. But I think that they are the single reason that I was never a boy crazy kid, because I had girlfriends at church who were just like, boys are whatever. They come and they go. They but Tara Walker, I remember Tara Walker inviting me into the youth choir. And I sang in that choir for years and years and, made friends, and we hung out and did things. So my school was very white. My church life was very black. And, I was never like the different girl, even though I lived in the suburbs. And I'm sure I talked differently. I don't remember anybody ever saying you talk like a white girl, but I'm sure I did. And I wore my jeans like a white girl. I remember how you used to tuck and roll the bottom of the jeans. I used to do that, tuck and roll the jeans. I dressed like the kids at my school, but I don't have one time when I can point back and have them say that they criticized me for that. I got to be me, whoever that was that particular time. So the girls at that church at New Salem were wonderful to me. Some of them are still there. New Salem has a Facebook page, so you can see stuff that they do now and then. And some of them are still there, very active in the church. But they were really good to me. In high school, I told you high school got blacker and blacker as we went. My friend, I think it's okay to say this. My friend Allison had a baby in high school, and she carried it like a champ. I don't know how to explain this. I want to say 10th, 11th grade. So Sybil and I did notice she was wearing a coat every day. She wore a coat to school every day, no matter what it felt, and wore it all day in school. And then one day I was like, "Oh, Allison is pregnant," but it was never. She didn't feel shame. She didn't. I don't think. I think it's okay to say this. I hope it's okay. I didn't ask anybody's permission to say their names, and now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, oh, maybe. You know me, I don't think about things like that. But she never felt shame. She was just, yes, okay, I'm going through my day. I'm having my baby. And that was just good to see. Right now, we don't have to feel shame about things. But at that time, this was this was probably 1990, 1989 or 90. It just was what it was. She did wear a coat every day, all day, every day. But other than that, there was no ushering her off, rushing her out of the school, putting her in some secret program. I don't know, right? It was just Allison had a baby. Where are we? Number 9. Okay, I'm doing good with these stories because I can talk a long time. Yeah. So I know that I hear a lot, hey, Savvy Soldier, I hear a lot of Black women talking about that particular pain in their lives, right? So I appreciate those girls for never othering me. I know I taught. So yes, I came from Delaware with my little Delaware accent, but I had been in Ohio long enough by the time we moved to that church that I'm sure I talked like a white girl. Like I would have had no choice, right? But I can't think of any time they said it, right? No, I can't think of any time they laughed at me, right? Some of these girls lived in right next to the church, right? Lived in the city. At this time, the church was right in the middle of Columbus, right? Lived right in the city. These were city girls, some of them. I can't think of a time when any of them laughed at me or separated me from the group, from my the way I talked, the way I dressed. None of it. I was just one of them. I was just me, right? They got to be them. I got to be me, and I appreciate that. I think there's that who we are today is a result of who we were as a child, when our brains were forming, and so I appreciate them for that. Because man, I feel comfortable wherever. I feel comfortable being me wherever, and they had a good part to play in that, right? Letting me just be me without criticism, you know? Yeah, I appreciate that. I know a lot of women have had that. That's a pain that you hear come up when Black women start talking about other Black women. That is a pain, or Black people start talking about other Black people. That is a pain. I'm grateful to them that I can't relate. I don't know that, right? I don't know that. Yeah. Hi, Sashana. I was always a little alternative growing up, and the Black girls in my school never othered me either. They were truly the best. Black women are unmatched. Black women and Black girls are unmatched. There's no group of people in the world like us, right? Nobody like us. So I appreciate them. I want to shout them out, right? For that. I put Tara's name on the list, but it was Tara, Dee Dee, Melaine, Carla, Arla, names I'm gonna forget. Kim, right? This was a long time ago. Yeah, I told y'all I'm turning 48. I was 10 when we joined this church. But that was my experience growing up. Yeah. Yeah, it was um a wonderful experience. A wonderful experience. Aria, I was teased for talking like a white girl, lost friends over it. I I know I know that this is a common experience for some. I do. I hope that you can heal from it. Seriously. Seriously. Because some women, you have that in their minds, and it continues to be a reason that they don't bond with Black women. And I'm telling you, there's nothing like bonding with Black women. There's nothing like it. I'm telling you, it's why everybody wants to be with us. It's why anytime you say something is for Black women, other people are like, but me too, right? Don't exclude me. You can't exclude me, right? Speaking of which, I've never introduced myself. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Stephanie Perry. I'm a house sitter. I'm the creator of House Sitter School and co-creator of Exodus Summit. I help Black women embrace ease by house sitting, by taking a sabbatical, by moving abroad, by bopping around as a digital nomad. If that sounds good to you, make sure that you subscribe to this channel, please. Hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. Ring that notification bell so that you will be notified when I post a new video or when I go live. Welcome. Okay? All right. Yes. Okay. That should have been done 30 minutes ago, but it is what it is. We do our best over here. We do our best over here. Yeah, I appreciate those girls. All right, so after graduation from high school, I decided to go to Spelman College. No, before graduation, my dad, as I told you, my dad was a person who would sign me up for things. And my parents, I think both made me apply to go to a summer science program before my senior year in high school. I went to a summer science program at Moore. It was actually a Morehouse summer science program, but it was co-ed at the time. I think we were the last year that there were boys and girls in the summer science program. So I went to the summer science program at Morehouse, and I met my good friend Angelisa Gilliard. The story I'm going to tell about Angelisa is superficial, but I need to preface this by saying she's a wonderful person. I love her. I miss you. She's only in DC, so maybe one day we'll get to hang out. Sometimes she's here in the live streams. So maybe one day we'll get to hang out sometime soon. But a wonderful person. Okay, but I'm going to tell you a superficial story. Angelisa is the first person to ever take me into a Target. Okay. Angelisa is responsible for my love affair with Target. If you know me, you know that Target really is my happy place. Target is my happy place. And the first time I ever went to a Target, Angelisa drove me there. Angelisa and her mother. Angelisa was in the summer science program with us, and her mom was a professor at Spelman. And her mom came, picked some of the girls up, put us in her car, and drove us to Target to get some supplies. And I had never, like I had been in Kmart, right? I know a store that has a variety of things, right? but this was like Kmart for angels. It was like Kmart in heaven. That's all I could think. Like, they have the towels here, they have soft towels, right? So if you want to go buy some towels and washcloths at Kmart, you can. This was before the Martha Stewart stuff, I think, right? If you could buy some towels and washcloths at Kmart, you can, but they're not going to feel good. Target had towels and washcloths that felt good. They had just knickknacks. I think I bought jewelry while I was there. I bought notebooks. Also began my love affair with notebooks and pens, right? Like, Angelisa opened that door for me and changed my life. As I said, they were kind and generous people. They picked us up when they didn't have to, and they drove us to Target when they didn't have to. Okay, so I don't want to say that she's only wonderful for this thing. She is wonderful because she's a wonderful person. Her mom used to take students to church if they wanted to go, right? Wonderful people. It's good to go to schools. It's good when you're away from home. It's good to have somebody reach out to you, right? And Angelisa and her mom were people who reached out to me and to us, so that we didn't feel alone and isolated. Hello, AUC, dark-skinned woman at Clark Atlanta in the building. Hello, friend. Hey, neighbor. So I was only in Spelman for 1 year, so I don't. I was only there for 1 year, and they were like, "Please leave." Yes, but Angelisa is the one who introduced me to Target, my happy place. All right, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Target was supplied by Hudson's. Okay, I don't know Hudson's. Hey, Arlene. Okay. Yes, always, always. I remember walking in the door. I remember how bright it was. I promise you. I remember that experience clearly. I remember how bright it was. I remember walking out. I think I got a set of towels and washcloths. I got a mop or a broom. It might have been a broom. Yeah, I remember that experience. There was clothes here that you actually want to buy. There's like, this place is amazing. All right. Years. It's been years. Years. Yes, I love them. I've loved them for years and years. So thank you for that, Angelisa. Speaking of someone who reached out to me, so after I left Spelman and went to Delaware State University, I was just sitting in my English class one day, and one of those extroverts, one of those Leos, just turned around in her desk and became my friend. Right? When I say go do things and go places, you don't have to do a whole lot if you're an introvert. You don't have to do a whole lot, because there are extroverts out there and there are Leo extroverts out there who will take over. You don't have to just be there and say yes, okay? So the extrovert Leo named Tawana Phillips turned around in her desk in English class one day and was like, "Are you going to the party tonight?" And I said, "What party?" I didn't live on campus. From sophomore year to I went to Delaware State sophomore year, 2 or 3 junior years, a couple of senior years, right? I went to Delaware State for a long time, but I never lived on campus. I lived with my parents, and then I lived in a trailer. I lived down in a trailer with a roommate, but I never lived on campus. Tawana, I think it must have been the first week of classes or maybe the second. Turned around, "Are you going to the party?" "What party?" She said, "I live in the Jenkins." That was her dorm. It was Jenkins Hall. "I live in the Jenkins. My room number is whatever. Meet me there at whatever time, 9:30 or whatever time we were getting together." So Tawana pulled me into her friend group just by turning around and asking me to come if I was coming to a party. And Tawana, we've been friends for years and years and years and years, right? I was 19. She was 18. She was a freshman. I was a sophomore. Just by turning around and reaching out. They take over. Just let them. Cats, let them take over. My dad is one. My dad is an extrovert and a Leo. Just let them take over. They're out there in the world. You don't have to, if you're nervous about going to a place and meeting a person or meeting new people, and how are you going to meet new people? Just be there. It's okay. I promise you I'm an introvert. I know you don't know that. You don't believe that because I talk so much on the channel, right? But I'm talking from inside my room, inside my space. So I need the extroverts to come in and take. I just let them. I let them do it. I don't feel any type of way about it. They tell you what you're going to do next. Tawana told me where to be and when to be there. And that's it. And that was it. Changed everything. Changed my college experience. Made Delaware State, because I would have been just a student who went to classes on occasion. I was never going to be a student who always went to class, but I was going to be a student who went to class on occasion, but had no real connection to the school. And Tawana made me an actual full-fledged student of Delaware State University. She gave me a friend group and activities, and we went to parties and concerts and liquor stores together. Whereas I would have just been a person who drove to school and drove home. Instead, I became a full-fledged Delaware State Hornet because of Tawana. So thank you, Tawana. I appreciate that. Yeah, they reach out. You don't have to do, seriously. You know, I believe in doing as little as possible. I'm going to do as little as possible. And part of doing as little as possible is letting other people shine where they shine. And so those extroverts shine at reaching out to people. Y'all do it. And I want you to know I appreciate you. I appreciate you for doing that for us. Makes things so much easier. Yes. Sagittarius also. Okay. I can see that too. Yeah, I can see that too. Down to Earth says, I'm an introvert. My two besties are extroverts, the only ones I can handle. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. You don't have to become a different person. I think everyone on this list it's been made clear to me that I didn't have to become a different person to be accepted or loved or welcomed or to shine and bloom and grow. I can stay me and bloom and shine and grow. I hope that you have a community of people who let you do the same thing. And seriously, part of that is letting the extroverts be their extrovert selves, okay? And just say yes sometimes. When they invite you to do things, sometimes just say yes. If you feel like it, say yes. All right, Tawana. And then another person who reached out to me, Charmaine, who might be here in the chat, Charmaine Reynolds. We were in AIT training in the Army together. Charmaine and I finished basic training in our different basic training units. We're on different posts. We got to no, we didn't. We got to San Antonio, I can't remember the name right now. We got to San Antonio for training, and we missed the cutoff date for the pharmacy technician training class. So we had to just stay there and sit and do nothing for days and weeks. I think they even sent us home for a while before we could start our real training for pharmacy technician, right? I didn't join the Army until I was 26. Most of the kids who were in basic training in AIT with me were 18, 19, 20 years old. Charmaine was in there somewhere, right? Probably 17 or 18. I got to go to the grown-up club on the weekends. There were clubs in San Antonio that were really close together. One was for 18 and up, and one was for 25 and up, I think. And so I got to go to the 25 and up club, Fort Sam Houston. Thank you. I couldn't get it. It wasn't there. Thank you. Yes, we arrived at Fort Sam Houston, but we were there at a time we couldn't go through training. So we had a lot of time to do nothing. So I went to the club Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, right? But Charmaine and them were too young to go. It was me and a white girl named Spears. A white girl named Spears were old enough to go to the 25 and up club. So one day, Spears comes in with some hair that she bought somewhere for me to put in my head to make a ponytail. I was just wearing, I don't know what I had. I assume I just wore my relaxed hair in a bun for the whole time. And Spears came in with this ponytail. She wrapped it around and put it on right. She's like, now we're going to the club. I walked past Charmaine's door to go out. We lived in bays, huge bays of bunk beds. But I walked past Charmaine and she said, hey, where you going? I said, me and Spears are getting ready to go to the club. She said, you're not going to do your hair? And I was like, the white girl just did my hair. Charmaine, come here. Charmaine pulled me into the room, pulled out her flat iron and curling iron, and did my ponytail for me so that it was looking cute. I don't know. I don't remember where this was in our time in Fort Sam. I don't know if this was the first real conversation that we had or had we been hanging out. I don't remember. But I think we didn't know each other at that point. I don't think. Because we didn't live on the same bay, I don't think. She just was like, hey, I can't let you go out like that, right? Bridget, her roommates, the people in her room were Bridget, Coley. We all went by last names. Cole, Clark. They were all in the room, and I remember them. I sat in that room, and they all hooked me up so that I could go to the 25 and up club representing. You're not walking out here looking like that. Spears, I don't know what Spears, she put that little ponytail in your hair, whatever. But that's not cute. Okay? Let's get cute. Charmaine and I we've known, not on my watch. So Charmaine is also one of the women who I said I started this channel for. Charmaine, we went from pharmacy technicians. Charmaine went from pharmacy technician to nurse practitioner to, I don't know, nurse PhD program, whatever, right? So Charmaine is one of the people that I started this channel for because I know she needs a break. I think she's taking a break. But our relationship, our friendship started with her straightening me out, getting me right. She's a real one. She's a real one. So, yes, right. It was just, how you buy hair on a track. She bought me, back then there weren't a lot of options. So I'm sure it was really silky hair, right? Which is one of the problems with me wearing weave. One of the reasons I don't wear weave is it's just really hard for me to get hair that looks like it's legit. You see what I'm working with, right? So I'm sure it was really silky, but I had a relaxer, so it may have been close enough. But I think it was just she just wrapped it around and flipped it back, and it was just straight, just there. Like, right? I don't know. I didn't know how to do it. I thought it looked at least better than what I started with that day. And Charmaine was like, no, ma'am. I don't know you, but no, ma'am. I remember walking past the door. Like, it wasn't like I was like, hey, y'all, I'm going out tonight, whatever. I just was walking past her door and she said, hey, Perry, where are you going? Come here. And you know what happened? I kept the ponytail, and the next time I wanted to go out, I put it in my hair, and I was like, Charmaine, Reynolds, can you do my hair? So I think she ended up teaching me, so eventually I could do a little bit better by myself. I think I gave up on the ponytail pretty quickly, though. Yeah. That's a friend. That's a friend. That's a friend. Yes, right. So I've been reached out to, right? Y'all, Black women have reached out to me with no expectation, no hope for any kind of reciprocity. I can't give you nothing. There's nothing I could give to Charmaine, right? What can I thank you? Other than that, right? She didn't expect me to do anything in exchange for that. I've been reached out to by Black women in all types of situations, all types of experiences. It's been wonderful. I want to also, now we're going to switch gears and start talking about blogging life and things. I think I tried to group these in a way that made sense, but I don't have a good transition for this one. Courtney Georgie Ellis is a woman who contacted me. I guess she's my first coaching client for gap year sabbatical planning, right? I think Courtney would qualify as my first coaching client. I had posted on Instagram that I was taking this gap year in 2015. And then during the gap year, I posted a lot on Instagram, at least every day. Yeah, right. I'm in Bali. Here's a picture of me in Bali. I'm in Manila. I'm in the Philippines. Not Manila. I did go to Manila, but it's not fun. But another place in the Philippines. I'm in the Philippines. Here's a picture of me, right? And so somehow Courtney found me on Instagram. I didn't know her. She reached out to me. She was my first client. She asked me some questions, and then she PayPal'd me, or Cash App. Did Cash App exist then? She PayPal'd me some cash to thank me for helping her plan her sabbatical. Mostly she asked questions about packing, right? How do I pack for this? How many outfits do I really need? How many am I overpacking, and how do I make sure I don't overpack? So she was my first client, but not only was she my first client, while she was in communication with me on my gap year, she was in communication with Rashida, while Rashida was on her gap year. And she said, oh, by the way, you guys should meet. Let me introduce you to. That's how I know Rashida Dow from Sheeta's on the Loose. Courtney had been asking us both questions. And she said, you guys should meet. A simple thing that changed my life. A simple paragraph. I assume she hooked us up on Instagram. I would assume she DM'd us. I don't really remember this part. I assume she DM'd us both on Instagram. Are you here, Rashida? I think Rashida's getting ready for things. And boom, I now have a Rashida in my life because Courtney was like, oh, I think you guys should meet. I think you guys should know each other. Right? A simple act that did change everything. I hope that I think things sometimes. I think like, oh, this person and this person would be really, they would like each other. They would work well together or whatever. But I don't always act on it. But I have done it a couple of times, and I've done it because Courtney did it for me. There are times when I forget and it slips my mind and whatever. Sometimes these people find each other anyway. But anyway, Courtney is the person who introduced me to doing that with intention and changed everything for me. So the next person on my list, of course, is Rashida Dow, my good sis, my business bestie, my friend. Rashida Dow and I have created Exodus Summit together, which has changed Black women's lives. Exodus Summit is a sabbatical summit. Thanks, Ms. Dow. Yeah, she's busy. She's got a busy weekend, and then she's got to get ready to get on a plane soon. Exodus Summit is our virtual summit for Black women planning a sabbatical, a move abroad, a career break, digital nomad life, right? We put that together. And some of you in this chat today either are on your sabbaticals or have taken a sabbatical or have moved abroad or are moving abroad because you attended that summit and learned how. We changed lives together. Rashida, I always say Rashida makes things better. There's not an idea that I can come to Rashida with that she can't make a real, make it into something really impactful, right? Make it into something that is going to change things for our attendees, for our participants. I naturally do want to do the least. So it's wonderful to have a Rashida in my life who is a little less of a do less person. She's not like a do the most person in all things, right? Sometimes she is. Sometimes. Don't tell her. She's not here. Sometimes she does want to do the most. But she's a good medium in the medium, right? She's a little more do less, but with enough do more that things come out good, come out organized, come out clear, come out helpful, come out beneficial, come out profitable, right? Rashida and I have made good money together. We made good money together before we ever met in person, right? We just celebrated the year anniversary of the day we met. So we met a year and 2 months ago, I think, something like that, for the first time. But we'd already put a summit together, right? We'd already had 3,000 women attend our virtual summit that changed their lives, right? So Rashida has taught me how to do a little extra, do a little more, do a little bit better to make sure that this comes out impactful and helpful and beneficial to people. I appreciate that from Rashida. Jetset Sarah, I want to shout out Jetset Sarah because Jetset Sarah is a prominent Black woman travel blogger who puts other women on, who puts other Black women on. She put me on. I was on TripAdvisor.com because of Sarah. Her name is Sarah Greaves, but she's Jetset Sarah on Instagram. Follow her. Her feed is just amazing. She's beautiful and she uses colors and whatever. She's one of my faves to follow on Instagram. But she is a person who is at the top in the Black woman travel blogger space. She's at the top, and she's always putting other Black women on. I appreciate that. I need to learn that even better, right? Learn that even better. I have a platform. I have a YouTube channel. And part of my mission is to bring on Black women who want to speak to my audience of Black women. That is a way that you benefit, that I benefit, and that the guest, that woman, benefits. But Sarah is a leader, an example in how to do that, how to not keep it all for yourself, right? That if you can't operate out of abundance and keep everything for yourself. They don't go together. Sarah's been a really helpful example, right? If you want abundance, you have to open up your fists. When you get something, you can't ball it up in your fist and keep it for yourself. Sarah is spreading it around out into the Black woman travel blogger space. And I appreciate her very much for doing that. I told you that I'd never had a Black woman teacher, or never had a Black teacher, period. I also hadn't had a Black woman supervisor until I went to Barclays. I had a Black woman supervisor who people didn't know was Black. We have a couple of families in Delaware whose last names are giveaways that they're Black people. But other than that, you may not know. Okay. And she was one of those. Her name's Angelique. She was one of those. I knew she was Black because I'm from Delaware and we worked at a bank together. But other people seemed not to know. It's not that she was passing on purpose, right? In her hometown, she didn't need to pass. In her hometown, everybody already knew. But at work, at one point, it became clear to me that these people don't know that she is a brown or Black woman. I don't know what word they use for themselves. I've been told that they're Black. I don't know what word they use, but I knew just so soon as I saw her last name. But not only was she my first Black woman supervisor, or Black or brown woman supervisor, I think, because even in the Army, I had, I had white women sergeants over me. I had Black and brown men, but I never had a Black woman in charge of me in the Army either. So no, so she was the first Black woman boss, and she was really good, right? Really good. She was a person who understood people's strengths and how to lean into them at work and how to give them help and support in places where they needed it. She was just a really good supervisor. You know, I haven't had good experiences with supervisors. I've been called difficult to manage in many a report, an annual review, right? Difficult to manage. And she was really good at doing things. Yeah. So I don't know that. So there's a difference between, I don't know, maybe there's not. There's a difference between passing on purpose and just passing because this is what you look like and you don't have a name tag that says, "Hi, I'm Black," right? Right. So I doubt she was passing on purpose because in Delaware is small enough that people from Delaware would know as soon as they heard her last name and looked at her face. Oh, yeah. Right. There was another woman, Angela. So this was Angelique and another woman I worked with named Angela. Same. Right. But you know, you're working in a bank. These are people from all over, people who are not Delawareans, right? People who have gotten a job and moved here, or maybe people who just aren't hip to things. Maybe they are from Delaware, but they aren't hip to things. Anyway, but she was a very good supervisor who was very good at recognizing the team's strengths and letting them do that, not micromanaging. And she was good at knowing the team's weaknesses and where to support them. Angelique was probably 2 steps over me. The man who was who I reported to directly was breaking down. He was having an emotional breakdown in front of our eyes. And she handled that as best she could without putting him on blast. But she knew that I knew that he was breaking down, that he was going through a divorce and he was just losing his mind. He was losing his mind. And she handled that with in a supportive way. She could have been mean and nasty and vindictive. And that man could have lost all of his all his benefits, right? No benefits, no job, all of that. Instead, she handled it really well. And so that was a wonderful way to see a woman in charge bringing her womanness, right? That I don't know if the person who filled her slot was a man, that the man who was breaking down would be in a totally different position. But she brought the womanness, the things that come from being a woman. She brought that to the job as well. And I really enjoyed working for her. I didn't work for her very long. I was only loaned out to the department. I was so difficult to manage that my actual boss moved me over to her department to get a break. So I had a temporary assignment over in that department. I never really understood what they did. I don't ever really understood what they did. It was really technical in the bank. And then he moved me back over to his job. But I appreciated working under her, and it was really helpful. As a person who has an idea for, or who is in, not idea, I have a business that will become a business that requires me to, if not supervise, at least hire someone to supervise, right? It was really good to see her in practice, to see her in action, to see how she did things. Because I'm telling you, if she had been a man, that dude, my boss, would have been fired and out on the street. I don't know about out on the street, but fired and in a bad way. Instead, he got help and support and care and got moved through this very hard time in his life. So thanks, Angelique, wherever you are. All right, speaking of very hard time in your life, I've told you this before. When I was in my early 20s, I miscarried. I lived, my boyfriend, or he was really my ex-boyfriend. He lived in Atlanta. I lived in Delaware, but I didn't live with my parents. I went to work that day pregnant, and by the time I got to my mom's house, I was losing the baby. My mom drove me to the hospital, and my dad was in Paris. My dad worked for DuPont. He was in Paris. So by the time the doctor announces to her that I was 21 weeks. By the time the doctor announces out loud that there's nothing they can do, I was in shambles. I was a mess. And my mom needed somebody there with her. My mom picked up the phone and she called Aunt Betty. I told you I have a lot of aunts and cousins. So Aunt Betty is going to stand in for all of the wonderful aunts in my life who've taken good care of me. But she called Aunt Betty, and Aunt Betty got in her car and came over to Christiana Hospital. And I think they both, I wasn't really coherent, but I think they both slept at the hospital that night with me. I think, right? When my mom needed support, she had people to call. She called Aunt Betty, who is not her sister, right? Even though she calls her sister, Aunt Betty is her sister-in-law. She's my dad's brother's wife, right? My mom's sister-in-law, but she just calls her sister. And Aunt Betty was there, not just there, but there, and stayed and supported and took good care of my mom so that my mom could take good care of me. I can't name all my aunts. I can't. I can't name all my aunts and cousins. So I'm going to put Aunt Betty on this list in the gap for all of them. I have been loved. I was born at 4 pounds 7 ounces. And so I always think that people are like in the family are like always happy to see me and stuff because I was such a small preemie, and they remember that. Because sometimes they'll still tell me, I remember when you fit in one hand, right? But I don't think that's it, looking at how they treat everyone else. I don't think that's it. I think that's just, I was born into a family of people who are good at showing love, right? Good at being happy when you walk into a room. Good at loving to get together and see each other and go to reunions and stuff. I just was born into that kind of family. But I appreciated Aunt Betty for being there. I remember that. It was Michael. So the Chicago Bulls were in the championship. It was either during the finals or whatever. My mom at this point was really into basketball. And I was laying on the bed and my mom turned the TV on. And I was like, turn the TV off. She was like, I just want to watch the finals. This might have been before, while we were waiting to hear what was happening. Turn that TV on. And my dad was away. My dad was not only away, but out on another continent. And when my mom needed support, Aunt Betty was there in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. Yes, I am very blessed to have this extended family. I was born into I know it. Like, I may take it for granted. Okay. So I may take it for granted, but I am aware of it. I am aware of it. Yeah. And I appreciate them. Tracy C., Aunt Patricia, best auntie ever, 30 years older, and my BFF until her transition. I had 11 aunties. I'm glad that you had Aunt Patricia in your life, your BFF. I'm glad. Yeah. I'm not saying I'm the only one with a good family. I know it. I know we have them out there. I hope you find a way to take some time to honor them. I got to find a way to do better because I don't go to family reunions. I don't go to family reunions that much. It depends on where it is and what else is happening. Family reunion time is also prime house sitting season. So, so if there's a house sit with a pool, I'm probably not going to be at the reunion. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. After saying all these kind words, that's the truth. The truth is, I will choose a swimming pool. That's bad. That makes me sound like such a terrible person after saying those nice words. Um, I'll have to fix it. I'll have to fix it. Oh, Bevelyn says she didn't have one aunt that she did like. Oh, I'm sorry, Bevelyn. You can make some. So you can make some. So let me move somebody off. Let me move somebody. Rearrange my list then, because I let me. Because you can make some. Because I created a grandma for myself. I told you my dad's mother passed away well before I was born, so I made my own grandma, Emma Taylor. Hello. No, bless you, Emma Taylor. She's passed away. I made her my grandma. I just picked one. I just picked another grandma, and she opened her arms and her home to me as if I was her biological granddaughter. You can find yourself a new aunt. So let's move. I'll move her on the list so I don't say her twice, shout her out twice. Yeah, Emma Taylor. I made a grandma. I made her my grandmother. Uh, I hung out at her house all the time. Yeah, so you can find some. She was very kind to me. Ms. Taylor was actually my grandmother's friend when they were young, right? When they were younger. She grew up in the same town as my grandmother, right? So even though I never met my grandmother who passed away, I met her very good friend. So that was nice. There was a nice connection there. Yeah, I made one. I picked her. She had plenty of grandkids. She had her hands full, but she took me. She took me in. So you could pick some, right? Angela says the same thing. She doesn't like her aunt. Pick some. I'm serious. You could pick some people. Like I don't know. So I picked Emma Taylor because she was like there was a connection. Like I don't know. My brother dated her granddaughter, right? Like, but find somebody, right? Somebody at your church, in your neighborhood, a neighbor, right? Would be a good grandma. You don't even have to get in the car to go see her. Pick somebody. I hope you do that. It's really nice to know that you have a cushion, someplace to. That's that's what my grandmothers were for me, right? Just like a cush, like a safe zone, a safety zone, right? My grandmother's house in Smyrna, it was just like I don't know. I spent a lot of summers there. After we went to day camp or after we went to vacation Bible school was usually for a week, right? After we went to vacation Bible school, the rest of the summer I would go down to Smyrna. Shump would pick me up and I would be in my grandmother's house in Smyrna, and that house was just a nice cocoon. There was always some cousin there, somebody else there. It was never just me. Yeah, but you can make that. You can make that. I know that. Having been a foster sister, having made my own grandmother, you can form these connections with people. They don't have to be biological. Because sometimes the biological connections we do have, for some people ain't worth a hill of beans. Is that the expression? But you make somebody that you can make it. I'm convinced it doesn't have to be biological. I'm appreciative of the people who I made my family, made my friends. Smyrna, Delaware. Smyrna, Delaware. We're Delawareans. Yeah. Yeah. PPP fraud investigator. Hey, I made a lot of my teachers parental figures growing up. You can carry that on. Yeah. You can carry it on. If you need somebody, you can pick up the phone. There are people who would love to reconnect with us, with you, right? Pick up the phone, rekindle some of those relationships. I know it. I know that it doesn't have to be biological. I have foster brothers and sisters. I had a grandmom who wasn't my grandma. I know it doesn't have to be biological. I know that. Make it. Make it for yourself. Okay. Where was I? Okay. So, um, I've got a woman of color who's not a black woman. I've got a Filipino woman on the list. Elsa, when I was in the Philippines, It was around Christmas time, and the malls were decorated for Christmas. Malls are another one of the places that I go to feel, you know, how when you're feeling stressed out and when you're traveling and everything is new and everything is a decision, right? You get tired and you just want to go someplace familiar. But what is familiar in Manila in the Philippines? Well, for me, it was the malls, right? Malls all over the world look pretty similar. They're a familiar place where you can go and just stop making decisions. You don't have to worry about like, how do I do this and where do I go for that, right? Just go to the mall. They all operate pretty much the same way. You feel comfortable there. So in Manila at Christmas time, I was sitting in a mall in the Philippines eating a donut, and a woman walked by me and sat down across from me, and she said, "Hi," in English. "Hi, I was a teacher for 30 years in New Jersey." And I said, "Hi, I'm from Delaware, New Jersey's neighbor." Her name was Elsa. She sat down, she had a conversation. "Why are you here?" Basically, a friendly conversation, right? I stand out all over the world. I stood out to her as a person who's probably not from Manila, and she was right. So I was kind of familiar to her since she had lived in the US for a long time. So she just liked having a conversation with me. We sat and talked and talked. She told me that she was waiting to watch the Star Wars The Force Awakens in the Philippines for seniors. I think movies are free. So she was probably 60 or so, 60. And movies are free for senior citizens. And she was going to watch The Force Awakens for the second time. And she was waiting on her granddaughter to come and join her. Her granddaughter was like maybe a middle school kid. And she said, "Have you tried recipes?" And I didn't know what she was talking about, so I said no. And it was a restaurant in the mall with traditional Filipino dishes. So she took me to the restaurant and she ordered a table full of food. She was like, "Now you try this. Now you try that. Now you try this." To introduce me to some Filipino dishes. She was the nicest lady. We became Facebook friends. She paid for all the food. She left to go watch the movie with her granddaughter. Like I said, we became Facebook friends, and I saw her granddaughter grow up over the years. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, Elsa, she's so big." Her granddaughter now is out of college. I remember her graduate, like I think she was a middle schooler, like 12 or so when we met. And I remember her high school graduation pictures. I was like, "Oh my God, Elsa, look, she's so grown up." And she may be in college still. Yeah. Like I said, I've had people extend kindness to me all over the world for no reason, right? No expectation of reciprocity. And Elsa is one of those people who was just very kind. Just wanted to have a conversation with someone, and we ended up being like internet friends for the longest time. It's been a while since I've seen any activity from her on Facebook, but I could probably find her still. It's been probably a couple of years now that I've lost contact with her. But I could still find her, I'm sure. And that's probably just because I don't open Facebook all that much. Speaking of people just extending kindness, I met Monique White during that same gap year. I timed my gap year so that I could be in Bangkok, Thailand for the travel bloggers conference called TBEX. It was in Bangkok that year, and it was in like September or October. And I wanted to go, even though I wasn't a travel blogger yet, but I knew I wanted to. So I go to the TBEX conference. I'm an introvert. I go there. I stand there. They had hors d'oeuvres and little standing tables. So I'm standing at the little standing table with my little plate. And I see a Black woman walk by. And I said, "Hey." And she said, "Hey." And I said, "Come over here." And she said, "Let me get a plate. I'll be right there." And that was Monique White, who is an unstoppable journey and a run-stoppable journey. An unstoppable journey is her travel blog. She lives in the Netherlands. She's from California. She lives in the Netherlands. She raised her daughters in the Netherlands, but she travels all over. And then An Unstoppable Journey is her running blog. She is a runner who last year was her 50th birthday, and she had run 50 marathons at that point. 50 marathons. I think 50 marathons. She says 50 races, but I think all of the 50 that she's counting were marathons. Maybe some half marathons in there, but I think 50 marathons. 50 marathons by the year of her 50th birthday, right? That's at An Unstoppable Journey on Instagram. I should have been putting other people's ats in here. So if you're into running, holler at Monique at A Runstoppable Journey. If you're into travel things, holler at her on An Unstoppable Journey. Unstoppable. Stoppable Journey. I think I did this. Okay, A Runstoppable Journey. And so Monique, and then it turns out I was just in the wrong section of the room. Monique took me by the hand and took me around the corner, and there was the Black women. There was. I met Reese. I met Nicole Brewer. I met, I think, Onika the Traveler was there. I think, some others. Right there were the Black women. She moved me into the right space so that I could meet the right people. Yeah, and Monique, not only did I meet Monique that time, and not only have we kept in touch then, since then, but also when I was house sitting in Amsterdam, right after my dad had a heart attack, Monique came and got me and took me around the Netherlands to the flower farm so that we could take some beautiful pictures and so that I could relax and chill a little bit. So Monique, again, being an introvert in a place full of extroverts, it works, right? You just hi, and I let her take over. I don't know if Monique would call herself an extrovert, but she is a person who moved me from being a solitary person in that space, not knowing anybody, to knowing people, making friends. Nicole and I have, well, I don't know. We've talked a lot, but I don't know if we've met a lot. Nicole and I, no, I don't know. Now I don't think we've actually met since then. I don't think we've met up since then, but we've talked since then, right? So people that I know because of Monique. Yes, I interviewed Monique on my channel, one of my earlier interviews on here. Yeah, we talked about that too. Yeah, I was so happy to see her. Hi. I remember. Hi. And she came and got me and took me over to where I needed to be. Amsterdam sounds like a lovely place to be. So don't be surprised. Yes, I'm talking about going to Costa Rica and adopting, okay? But don't be surprised if I raise my kids in the Netherlands. It looks like the best place to raise a family in the whole world. Seriously. She loves her life there. She loves Paris, right? She loves Paris, but she didn't move to Paris. She and her family stayed in the Netherlands, right? She and her daughters stayed in the Netherlands on purpose. And I think it's because it's a wonderful place to raise children. It looks like it. We already talked about me being fed up with car culture. I talked about that a couple of weeks ago. Right? So we're talking about a place where kids can be more autonomous. When you live in a place where you don't need a car to get to places, kids can be more autonomous, right? They can ride their own bikes to school. You don't have to drive your kids to school. I read something, I don't know who it was by though, that said driving your children to school is one of the most harmful things that you can do for their future development. I don't remember who it was by and what the context was, right? But driving your kids to school is one of the most harmful ways to harm their development. Kids who get themselves to school or who get walked to school with a parent or ride a bike to school or whatever, or are more mature and better able to care for themselves. Right. But the Netherlands sounds amazing. If I had a family, I think it would be the top of my list to live in, to be in. It's kind of like perfect. Except for the weather, right? The weather sucks. It's very gray. Very gray. I think I would need, if I lived, I would need enough money to be able to afford to live in the Netherlands and be able to afford to get to sun as needed, PRN, get to the sun as needed, whether it's Portugal or the Caribbean, right? I was in the Caribbean this winter with all those Dutch people. They all flew direct into Curacao to get away from the gray weather. Yeah, it looks like the most perfect place to raise a family. I'm not kidding. As a person who's only been there for 10 days, it seemed like it to me. I didn't see anything that counteracted that, right? Seemed like it to me. It seems to have a government that is actually concerned in the well-being of the people. They seem to have their stuff together. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes. Zenobia says Vienna was the most livable city. I think Amsterdam or the Netherlands, I think the country of the Netherlands has the happiest children. I think the Netherlands has the happiest children. Vienna is just expensive. I don't know the price difference though, because it's not like the Netherlands is cheap. Yes, great school system. All Dutch people are multilingual, right? There's no like, how do I communicate here? Everyone can speak English. The girl at McDonald's speaks English, right? Right? All Dutch people are educated. They seem to just have people in power who are interested in the well being of the people instead of the well being of the rich, which is what we have. We have the oligarchy here. Is it called an oligarchy? Right? Power, the rich. It seems to be. I don't know what happened there. I don't know when that happened, when that started, but that seems to be what's happening in the Netherlands. All right. What was I saying? Monique. Okay. All right. So now I have a few that I'm just bopping around on. Um, going back to high school days, Nicole had natural hair, and Nicole was my only friend in high school, in my whole high school and middle school years, who had natural hair. And she never made a big deal about it. Just like my friend Allison, it was never a big production that Allison was pregnant in high school. It was never a big deal to Nicole that she had natural hair, right? It was never like, oh, I wish my mom would let me press my hair. Right? It was just like, this is what my hair looks like. This is what my hair do. And she had a lot. She probably is the one person out in the world who I've met who has more hair than me. Like more hair per square inch. It was densely packed. It was tight. It was very long. She would sometimes just put it in four two-strand twists, like a little girl, like the little four twists, right? The four twists would hang down right to her armpits, like her hair. I don't know how long that child's hair was, but it was never a thing, right? It was never a thing. Like her hair was never like, oh, I wish this was middle school and high school. I met Nicole in middle school when we had Jerry curls, right? And it was never like, oh, I wish I could have a Jerry curl. Oh, I wish I could press my hair. No, this is my Nicole as a young teen, right? This is my hair. This is what it looks like. Deal with it, right? If you don't like it, don't look at it, right? That was a wonderful. That's a wonderful memory that I have of Nicole, just being herself and looking like she looked, right? Dark skinned black girl, thick, tight, dense hair. This is what I look like. Yeah. She was also friendly and chill and laid back. We're almost at the bottom. Ms. Ayers, so I told you I have some random, some just, this. There's no transition here. Either Ms. Ayers or Ms. Minus. I don't remember. Okay, so Ms. Ayers or Ms. Minus, thank you very much for making my little yellow dress so that I could be in the Tom Thumb wedding when I was 7 years old. Back in the olden days, people used to put children in little wedding dresses and little suits and do a pretend wedding for them. It sounds ridiculous today, but it is a thing that was done when I was a kid. The Tom Thumb wedding was a normal thing, and I was in the Tom Thumb wedding. I don't know, Mom, did I get married? Ooh, do I have a husband? And is he rich today? I don't remember if I got married in the Tom Thumb wedding or did you have bridesmaids? Was I a bridesmaid? I think my dress was yellow and white because, as we all know, yellow is my color. Uh, I think my dress was yellow and white, so I don't remember if I was the bride or like just a bridesmaid in the wedding. Mom, am I married? She'll comment. She's here. I think she's still here. But I don't remember which of the women at the church made my dress for me. It was either Mrs. Ayers or Mrs. Minus. So thank you for making that dress for me. It's one of the cutest pictures I have from childhood. Picture of me in my little dress for the Tom Thumb wedding. Um, yeah, I'm waiting for my mom to try to remember. I don't know. I don't remember if I was the bride. In the picture, I don't have a veil on. And at the Tom Thumb weddings, they used to put a veil on the little girl. So I must have been, was I a bridesmaid? I don't know. Connie Perry, are you here? Let me see. All right. Let me see. I do this wrong every time. Let me try to find her. I hear my dad talking to somebody outside, so she might not be. She might be outside. All right. If she's inside and she doesn't want to answer the question, maybe. Miss Callie says we didn't do Tom Thumb weddings, but everybody had the picture on the horse. I don't know about the horse. Our Tom Thumb wedding didn't come with a horse. Were we supposed to have a horse? Huh? Did I get cheated out of a horse? Danielle, I feel like I remember them being like pageants or fundraisers. Yeah, ours was a pageant thing at the church. Yeah, but the older ladies, who I guess at that time were not older, they just seemed old to me. They were probably in their 60s. They got together and made our dresses and stuff. Miss Callie says we did. Oh wait, I saw that one already. I saw someone else mention the Tom Thumb. Anybody else do those? Any y'all? Some of y'all are my age. Y'all acting like you don't know. So, some of y'all are 47 and 3/4 too. I'm not even 47 and 3/4. I am 47 and 23/24. I am 48. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. She's not answering, but I hear him talking to somebody outside, so she might be outside. I gotta go. I gotta follow up. I gotta follow up. Oh, the right treat. My mom had a Tom Thumb wedding for her pet rabbits. Oh, it was one of the happiest memories from her childhood. Oh, that's so sweet. That's so sweet. I gotta find out. Yeah. Yeah, I know. I know some of y'all remember that. I don't know when it became a thing that people didn't do, but I'm glad that they don't do them anymore. I don't. It is strange to think about it, but Sanal says, yes, I am married, and yes, he is wealthy. Okay, good. I got to look him up. Some, somebody help me. I got to look him up. Okay. Tracy was the bride, the union of Christ and the church. Oh, is that what the wedding symbolized? Okay. Yeah. So Conchita says it sounds like a Catholic confirmation ceremony. No. So yes, the Catholic girls who are getting confirmed wear the white dresses, but this was an actual wedding with a bride and a groom. There's a girl and a boy. Like you do an actual wedding. I might be married, y'all. I might be. Let me look him up. Who would it have been? I don't really remember the kids from church back then. Everybody was mostly my cousin. So I don't know who it would have been. Oh, my mom. Okay, my mom said I was a bridesmaid. Oh, womp womp. I think Mrs. Minus made the dress. Oh, Teddy's here. Tell Teddy I said hey. Okay. I was a bridesmaid, y'all. Okay. But Mrs. Minus, thank you for making that dress. The picture of me is really cute. The picture of me is really cute. We're at number 23. Okay, so I told you I wasn't going to fill this list with my cousins because it could just get overflowing. It could be all cousins and still not done. But the 23rd person on my list is my cousin Keisha. Keisha was born when I was 7 or 8. And then we moved to Ohio. We came back for a funeral. I was probably 14, so Keisha was 6 or 7. Came back for a funeral. This is a funny story. It's really a cute story. We're sitting at my grandma's house with my mom, my aunt, Keisha, me, probably some other people. And I all of a sudden feel it. I'm on my period has just started. So I run up the steps in my grandmother's house. It was an old house with one bathroom upstairs in the back. So my aunt who lived there kept her toiletries in her bedroom, not in the bathroom, because it was one bathroom. It was just a little pedestal sink, not storage, And so she kept her toiletries in the bedroom. So I run upstairs and run into my aunt's room to look for a pad. Keisha comes up behind me. She was, I like 6. maybe 5. I don't know. She was very young and very small. And she said, my mommy keeps them in this drawer. And I was like, keeps what, Keisha? You don't even know what I'm looking for. And she said, Naxi pans? And I was like, yes, I'm looking for Naxi pans. And so she showed me where to get it, and so I could go into the bathroom with it. And Keisha is a helpful person. She's my mom's other daughter. I always call her your daughter. Go let Keisha help you. When my mom's like, can you help me figure out Zoom? I'm like, no, call Keisha. Right? So she's my mom's other daughter, but she's my cousin. That's a funny story. It's a really cute story. I can see her face today, her little face. Naxi pants? Jesus. But that's a cute story. I think that just reminds me to ask for the help that you need. Say what you need. And also, like, be a helpful person. It's also a story about you don't have to know the thing or have experience with the thing to help somebody with a thing, right? Like, you don't have to. Keisha had never used a maxi pad. She was 5 years old. But you can help somebody with something. You don't need anybody to give you qualifications and, I don't know, accolades and stuff. If you want to help somebody, you can help somebody. So Keisha helped me on that day. I don't know how she knew. It was the funniest thing. I can still see her little face. Naxi pants? Yes, that is what I need. Right? You don't have to be the expert at something to help somebody with something. Keisha helped me on that day, and I love that story. And I still think of it when I hear her voice today. She's over 40 today. When I hear her voice, that's what I hear. When I think of her, that's what I hear. So yes, so that she's a good lesson to me that you don't need somebody's permission to be helpful. You don't need somebody telling you, now you're allowed to help somebody. You don't need credentials and all of that to be helpful out to another person. Okay, my 24th Black woman on the list who has helped me become the person that I am is you. You. This community is more than I could have ever imagined. I could never, ever, I didn't imagine this, right? Even when I dreamed of having a YouTube channel with 100,000 subscribers, because there was a point, once I started the channel, right, that was a goal. I want to get to 100,000 subscribers. I want this, right? When I dreamed of that, this is what I thought of, the play button, the award that YouTube gives you. I really didn't know that we would form a community. I thought I would help some people, but I didn't know that you would help me, that you would help each other. I couldn't have dreamed this up. I couldn't have imagined how wonderful this would be. How nice it is to spend my Saturday mornings with you guys and feel like I know you. I just see a little icon, right? Some of y'all, I have no idea what you look like. Some of you have done coaching with me and we've been on individual calls or group calls. So some of you, I know your faces. Some of y'all, I got no clue. There's an icon. And when I see that icon, I get happy, right? When I see that little circle, I smile. I'm so happy to see you. I'm so happy that you guys are here. I'm so happy that you guys care for each other. Of course, take good care of me. And also good care of yourselves individually, right? I think that this is a way that we take care of ourselves. It's a thing that we do for ourselves. This YouTube channel is about doing for you. And so I love that. I love you guys. You being here is why I'm here. And it's why it's a major reason that I am the person that I am, the person who gets to be a sharer and a giver. Right? Because I told you the hermit nature in me is strong. That hermit pull to do nothing by myself is strong. So you pulled me out of that orbit from time to time, periodically. And that's you. That's you. You've done that. Also, we've gotten together and given a lot of money away. I've never added that up. We've given a lot of money away. We talked about Allison being my high school friend. You guys gave Allison over $700 for her bakery, which is going strong at the North Market in Columbus, Ohio, right? We've given money to Farmer C, who I hope we can have on the channel soon, from Green Heifer Farms. You've given money to Imani, who might be here. Imani, on her way when she was on her way to Brown University, on her way. Congratulations on your first year at Brown University, Imani. Are you still here? Right, we pulled some money together and gave some money to Imani to help her on her first week of school. Uh, we gave money to we've given money, right? We've come together and we've done some things. You know that my obituary says that I am a philanthropist, right? But really it's you. You are the givers. So thank you for that. Thank you for not making a liar out of me. Thank you for not making a liar out of me. Thank you for helping me live my dreams. Yes. I'm not me. I'm not me. This channel is not this channel without you. So thank you. I appreciate you. I love you. I appreciate you. And some of you, I'm about to see Alfreda, right? I'm about to see some of y'all. So I met Alfreda twice, and I think we're about to meet for the third time. Some of y'all I'm going to see in Cancun. If not in Cancun, then sometime soon. If not Cancun, then sometime soon. We'll do some meetups. I don't know what's happening with COVID. I don't know. But sometime we'll do some more meetups. Okay, so I went through the list and I did it in a reasonable amount of time. I told 24 stories in a reasonable amount of time. I didn't know if it could be done, honestly. When I started, I was like, I don't know. If I have to stop at 12, I have to stop at 12. But we did it. Okay. All right. So, Monica, hey, I'm so warmed all over. See you ladies in Cancun. Okay, good. To share the love of all, even those who will not be with us. That's right. Even if you're not going to be with us there in Cancun, you are there with us in spirit. We are a community. We're a community. Okay. Hey, Shonda, am I going to Mexico City after Cancun? No, I'm flying straight back home. I couldn't decide. I just have been really indecisive. I couldn't decide how long, if I was going to stay, how long would I stay and where would I go? And so I just was like, I'll come back home. I'll come back home. Um, so not this time. Not this time. But if you're in Mexico City, come on over to Cancun. Just bop over. Get yourself a flight. They're probably $60, right? Get yourself a flight. Bop over for the weekend. Come on. We still have tickets available. If you're in the Exodus Summit Facebook group, we still have tickets available for the Cancun meetup. We're at we were at 130 something. Now we're at 120 something attendees. But so we still have room. Yeah. All right. Maybe Tiffany. Tiffany says, can we do a meetup in Costa Rica? Why? Because you're oh, now let me know. Would you need to come to Costa Rica or are you already there? Do we have a contingent of women already in Costa Rica? Or would I need to give you a lot of warning? Let me know. Oh, so Shonda will be in Cancun on the 9th. Oh, Cancun on the 9th. Okay. Okay. We'll meet another time. We'll pass by each other another time. Yes. So Yvette, there is room for the Cancun meetup. If you're in the Exodus Summit Facebook group, there's a link there. I think it's okay if I say it here. I don't know. Rashida's not here. You can go to exodussummit.com/meetup to get your ticket for the Cancun meetup. We're at the very end, but we do still have space. Not on the boat. Okay. So you can still get a ticket for the meetup, but not the day tour boat day. So during the day tour boat day, you would want to hang out with some of the other women because only half of us, the boat is for 65, right? So half of us are on the boat. The other half are doing other things together. And they're planning that day together, right? Charisma and some other women are planning their day, which will be Sunday. They're planning what they're going to do on that day while we're on the boat. So it's not like you're going to be on your own. You're going to still get to hang out with your new friends, the new community. Yeah, I thought about, Nicole says she was trying to get to Costa Rica after leaving Cancun. I thought about it. I just couldn't make up my mind, right? I thought about it, but I couldn't decide. So, Alfreda seconds to Costa Rica. Okay. But how much notice would y'all need to get to Costa Rica? Because it might be a very last minute thing for me. Right now, I'm thinking late August, early September to do my little scouting. I've got 2 or 3 neighborhoods that I think will work for me. And so I'm going to just bop around to 2 or 3 Airbnbs, check them out. And I think late August, early September. Right now, my plan is to do a book launch party in August here in Wilmington, Delaware. I don't have anything planned. The book is not done. This is another reason I can't go have fun. I need to come back and work and finish the book stuff. So I think a book launch party in Wilmington sometime in August, and then late August, early September, Costa Rica. So, okay. Oh, Nicole, I need to use up all this paid vacation before I exit. Oh, when is your exit? Do I know? Kat, why am I going to San Jose and not a prettier part of Costa Rica? I need uh I this is I need some things that I'm not going to get at the beach. Being at the beach, being in the what is it called? Curacao. Being in the Caribbean in Curacao for the winter helped me clarify things that I need for my life. And I need the conveniences of being in or very close to a city at this stage in the game. I need to be in or close to a city um, for work purposes, for internet purposes, for life purposes. Um, I don't think the beach life, if Costa Rica was like Mexico, where I knew I could get high speed internet at the beach and I could get, right, um, do decent shopping at the beach, it would be different. But I don't know that I can live long term in a Costa Rican beach town. Costa Rican beach towns are different from beach towns in Mexico. You know what I'm saying? So I just don't think it would fit. Uh, yeah. So San Jose is just a city. I'm not even a city girl, but there are some walkable neighborhoods in San Jose. So I just want to plop myself down in one of those and get some kids, right? I've not been shy about this. I'm going to Costa Rica because it's a place where I can adopt children and I can adopt black children. Uh, so, because Costa Rica has black people. Most of them are on the Caribbean side near Limon, but yeah. But that's for next year. That's for later. I'm not going to start that now, but I need a home now. So I decided on San Jose because I just don't think I can work comfortably in a beach city or beach town. I think I need to be in the city, in San Jose. San Jose is basically the only city. Even the other cities are like, they're basically San Jose. Here, Alajuela or whatever, it's San Jose, you know, in my my estimation. Yeah, I don't think a beach life would work for me at this point, which is a little unfortunate. But it was good to know. It was good to learn that I like the beach. I just don't want to live at the beach. I learned that this winter. And I learned that I am satisfied with a pool. I learned that as well. I'm pretty satisfied if I can jump in a pool on the regular. I'm pretty good. I'm pretty satisfied. So I guess it's not unfortunate. I learned some things about myself. I learned that. Okay. Femi says, is San Jose going to be my long-term base? Yes. So I'm going to go in the sometime late summer, I hope. Check it out. And if it's a yes, then it's a yes. Right? If it's a yes, then it's a yes for 3-4 years. So, yes. My plan is to make San Jose my home base for the next few years. Like get an apartment that I know I would want to live in for 3 years, right? And make this my home base. Still do some traveling. I have not traveled very much in Central and South America. I've been to Brazil and Costa Rica only. So do some traveling there. Go down to Panama, which looks awesome. And visit Central and South America some, but make Costa Rica my home base. Make San Jose my home base. Yeah, that's my plan. As I said, things change. When I went to Curacao, I learned some things I don't want. Maybe when I go to San Jose, I'll find some other things I don't want. That might change, but that's my plan for now. That's the plan. Yeah, mad wisdom. Yes. So there are people who are buying those €1 houses. I want ease. I want ease in my life. I want a house somebody has already fixed up. I want the ease. I'm not at a stage in my life where I want to do hard things. And I don't think we need to. I don't think we need to. Sanal said, why did this shift from Portugal? Because I need residency in a place With Portugal, once you get residency in Portugal, you need to spend the majority of your year in Portugal before, so that when they renew your residency, they approve you. You know what I'm saying? Right. With Portugal, there is a day minimum that you need to be in that country. And I want to be much more flexible. I don't know that I would be able to successfully adopt as a single woman in Portugal. I don't remember the rules, and I know single women can adopt in Costa Rica, and I know that I would be able to adopt a Black child in Costa Rica. Uh, so Portugal didn't fall off of my list for anything that it did wrong. It's still a great choice. I think it really just came down to, I don't want to have to be X number of days in the country. With Costa Rica, if I go down there, I get myself an apartment, I get my residency. You start with temporary residency, and then I find a 3-month amazing house sit in Hawaii. I can take it, right? Costa Rica doesn't care how many days I'm in the country if I'm a temporary resident, like Portugal does. I still want the flexibility that Costa Rica will give me that Portugal won't. Now, let's say I get to San Jose at the end of the summer and I don't like it. Portugal is the next. Portugal is it. It is, right? If I get to San Jose this summer and I'm like, I just can't. I can't work here. The internet's not right, or the weather. Maybe I'm forgetting. Right? There's earthquakes down there. Maybe I don't know how I feel about earthquakes. I've only experienced one or two here in Delaware, like Delaware-sized earthquakes, right? So maybe I won't be able to stand earthquakes when I get to Costa Rica or something. So if Costa Rica is not it, then Portugal is it. But as a woman, a single woman who wants to adopt and who wants to still be free until that adoption happens, I still want to be free to be wherever I want to be. I think Costa Rica is the choice. I think. But I still love Portugal. Y'all know I love Portugal. It's my bae. I love Portugal. It just doesn't fit what I need for me today. That makes sense. Okay. Amen for ease. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It is one of the healthiest places in the world. Yes, they have I just learned this. I just did the get ready with me. I put my makeup on and my face on today in the Patreon community over on Discord. And I was informed of this, that they have a blue zone in the Nosara district or whatever, Nosara region, the oldest living people in the world. So one of the oldest communities, right? The oldest people who live the longest. So that's good news, right? They're known for quality healthcare. They're known for quality healthcare. So I think I'll really like it. But if not, like I said, if not, Portugal. Hey, what you doing? Hey, girl, you up? If I get to Costa Rica and it's a no, then I'll be drunk texting Portugal. I miss you. Don't you miss me? Nubianet says, with the golden visa, you barely need to be there. But yeah, I can't. I wish somebody could buy me the golden visa. Let me find a man with a golden visa and marry him. Will that qualify me? Yeah. Yeah, there's so many wonderful choices. That's right. That's right. I kind of just looked at the map and drew a radius, right? Because I want to stay within a certain radius, and that limits me. That limits me to Europe, Central, South America. Probably Morocco is within the radius, but not a whole lot of Africa is in the radius where you can get on a flight and be home in 6 hours. For me, that is a priority. Uh, so that was where I started, right? Look at this map. But either Washington, I need to be in Washington D.C. or New York City in 6 hours on a flight. Now, where can I go? That's what I did, and a lot of Mexico fits in that radius, right? So if Costa Rica and Portugal are a no, Mexico, hey girl, yeah, yeah. Oh, there's some changes to the golden visa. Golden visa, I think I don't know what it is. I remember seeing it and being like, I don't even have to remember that number, right? Like if you're thinking, oh, I could do it if right, maybe in 4 years, right? I remember seeing the number and being like, I don't even need to remember the number. It's that out of the picture for me. Yeah. Oh, you can't live in Lisbon and Porto with the golden visa? What do you mean? What do you mean, Kat? Well, I don't know. I guess we don't. I don't need a lot of golden visa research. If y'all have $500,000 to buy residency in Portugal, it may be interesting to you. Okay. All right. So we have started off on the birthday celebrations. Oh, why did Mexico? Mexico was never that high on my list. Portugal was my Portugal. For me, my list was Portugal, Costa Rica, Mexico, and then Curacao, right? And then Costa Rica, Mexico fell, Costa Rica rose. I guess Costa Rica rose, but Mexico didn't fall. Um, Mexico, tall. I want so I, you okay. So I want y'all know my priorities. I want not only do I want to be able to adopt black children, but I also would like a man, and I would like him to be at least my height. Mexico is just a country full of small people. Not to say that there are no tall men in Mexico and that I couldn't find a man who was at least 5'9" in Mexico. But I would like to increase my odds. Seriously. Like, I just want to increase my odds. The height for the average man in Costa Rica is 5'8" or 5'9", right? The height for the average man in Mexico is probably 5'5". In Mexico, they don't get divorced. They get married very young and they don't get divorced. In Costa Rica, they're cool with divorce. Even though they're also they're semi-Catholic, but they're European enough. They have enough European influence and Caribbean influence that they're okay with divorce. I think their divorce rate is close to the US's. I think it's close to half of the marriages in Costa Rica end in divorce. I know that seems like a negative to some of y'all, but for a single person, it's a positive, right? For a single person, a high divorce rate is a positive. Um, yeah. So Mexico never really fit. Mexico is a great place that I enjoy, but it never really fit based on my criteria, my personal criteria. Taller men, adopting black children. I think single women can adopt in Mexico. This is right. So there's some places like Haiti. Haiti, you have to be under 50 and it's a 2-year process. So I'm pretty much aged out of adopting in Haiti, right? So adoption really led a lot of my decision making. Ghana, single women can adopt. I think Kenya and Tanzania, single women can adopt, right? So that guided a lot of my deciding. Now, I don't know. I don't know. What I'm about to say is very cruel. In the United States, with the changes in abortion, maybe I don't need to leave the country to get it. I don't know. I don't know. Right? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not tied to how things happen for me. I'm trying to let go of the way that things happen, but I do want to put myself in the best possible position. And I think that, living in Costa Rica is probably the best possible position for me to get the things that I want. That's it. But Mexico didn't fall off my list and Portugal didn't fall off my list. Costa Rica just rose higher. That's all. That's all. They're still on the list. Well, thanks, Kyla. Kyla says, I dated a Costa Rican. He was great, just a really nice person. Thank you for that. That's nice to hear. It's nice to hear that you've had good experiences. It's helpful. It's helpful in the Get Ready with Me session over on the Patreon community today. One of the ladies talked about her mom finding a nice rich man to move in with recently, right? It's nice. It's good to hear some success stories, right? I got next. I got next. Yes, single women can adopt in the U.S. Yeah, in the U.S., most adoptions. Yes, yes, yeah. So that's what's up. That's what's going on. Y'all know my criteria are mine. You you have to work through your own criteria, right? Right. I see. I'm 5'3", 5'5" is good for me, right? Then Mexico would be. You would have better choices in Mexico than I had. But remember, they're not single. They're not single men in Mexico. They're all married. They don't get divorced. They just don't get divorced. Even today, like today, I'm like, what? I know you don't like her anymore. They just don't get divorced. You don't see single men hanging out in Mexico, just like at the bar. I went to Querétaro, which is the city for tech. It's like the tech center. It's kind of like the San Jose, California of Mexico. I went to Querétaro, where some of the tech companies have their businesses and offices and stuff. It was during some sort of soccer world friendlies of something. I don't know soccer words. And so I'm like, well, let me get my hair done and let me go to the place. I went to the mall, which had a Hooters, a Chili's, and something else all next to each other with big TV screens, right? Men were there watching soccer, football. Men were there watching. Nobody cared about me. I looked good. Nobody cared about me. I'm like, all of y'all are married. Where are the single men in Mexico? It's just a place where they don't get divorced. Portugal, everybody's divorced, right? Their divorce rate is like 100%. Right? It's just a place where they don't get divorced. If this is not a top priority for you, then it's okay. I'm not saying there are no single men in Mexico, but the odds, the numbers, right? The odds are smaller. Now, in the city, you're going to find better odds than out in some of the places that I've spent. I've spent my time in Mexico in some small towns. Everyone is married. In Mexico City, you're going to find better odds. But I just, you know me, I believe in putting myself in the best possible position. I want to improve my odds so that I can do less. If you put yourself in the best position, then you don't have to do as much work to get to the finish line. That's all I'm trying to do. Put myself in the best possible position to get the things that I want from my life. That's it. Okay. Teacher. I am very tall. So I've dated men who are shorter than me. They could never get over it. They could never get over it. Right? They like do weird things. Some of you don't know what that is like, but they just cannot get over the fact that I'm taller than them. They can't get over it. So I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to deal with that. Walking like we walk and he's got to walk up on the curb. They just can't, they can't get over it. They can't, their psyche, men's psyches, they're not developed enough. If you see a short man with a taller woman, he is very secure and he's developed, mature, all of that. I have not dated a man who was mature enough to handle being shorter than me. They can't get over it. They cannot get over it. I'm telling you. They can't deal with it. They can't deal with it. All right. Yeah. Okay. Yes, and they marry young. That's another point, right? They marry young, they stay married, and they're small. For those reasons, Stephanie Perry will not be moving to Mexico if she has another choice. I love Mexico. People there are wonderful. I've been treated very well in Mexico. I love it. I love it. I love eating in Mexico, which is one of my favorite things to do. I love being in Mexico. I love Mexico. If it's one of your top choices, keep it there. I'm not. Remember, my priorities are not your priorities. Your priorities are not my priorities. Remember that, right? We all have our own priorities, right? Some of y'all like cold weather. Some of you actually enjoy wearing coats. I don't know how. Some of y'all like wearing coats and scarves. Not me. No, thank you. Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you again. Thank you for being here. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for sharing and forgiving. Okay. Thank you for being the reason that I am me and that this channel is this channel, that this channel is existing and blooming and thriving. Thank you so much for that. I am so glad that you're here. I can't wait to continue on with you into the next phase of my life, into this next 48, this next year 48. I like the number 8, so I'm pretty happy about turning 48. It's divisible by 8 and it's all that. So I'm pretty happy to be turning 48. And I'm happy to be able to start celebrating this with you. We'll keep celebrating. My birthday is July 5, but we'll keep celebrating this new part of my life for a few weeks. And then don't forget the second Saturday in July, we'll get together and just do a quick check in on our vision boards, just to make sure that we are getting ourselves on track to make this year a good one, right? To make this year, even if this year is not about achieving and doing for you, if it's about feeling, right? Make sure that you're on track to get yourself in the place that you want to be this year. I'm not on track, which is why we didn't talk about our vision boards today. I need a couple more weeks. Give me a couple more weeks. Let me try a few more things. Okay. All right. Thank you all, Stephanie. Thank you. I mean, now I'm Stephanie. My name is Stephanie. Thank you all for being here and for joining in. I'll see some of you in Cancun. This time next week, we'll be together. I'll see you guys. Bye.